Next, let us talk about the principles of doing environmental impact assessment. First, development befitting to nature. This requires the project proponent to have deep understanding of the existing environmental conditions of the site, and the proposed development project needs to harmonize with the natural environment. In another word, the natural environment should not be over-modified to suit the proposed development. The purpose here is to minimize the impacts towards the environment due to the development project. Second principle, proactive. It is important to be able to identify the environmental impacts before the executions of the project, and measures are to be taken as a mitigations for the potential environmental impacts. Third principle is the transparency. The environmental impact assessment study should be carried out in a transparent manner, and the report should be produced in clear, concise, informative, transparent, balanced, easily accessible, and understood by the stakeholders. One should not hide any information from the access of the stakeholders with the intentions of having the EIA report approved. At the end of the day, negative impacts to the environment will bring harm to the society. Next is the credibility. The environmental impact assessment study should be carried out by professionals and performed with integrity, rigor, fairness, and objectivities. The measurements and collections of the data, as well as the analysis and interpretations, should be carried out properly in order to address key areas of environmental concern, and the study will need to comply with the statutory requirements to guarantee the quality of EIA report. Next is the cost effectiveness. In the EIA, you will need to propose measures to prevent the pollutions and the negative effects, as well as to mitigate the problems related to the environment. This shall be followed up with surveillance and monitoring, as well as the compliance audit. Now, this whole thing here should be carried out in the cost-effective manner based on the available technology or the best industrial practices. Next is practical. Whatever decisions made, as well as the plan for the preventions and mitigations measure, should be practically implemented. And then social accountability. As EIA relates to the impacts to the environment, there are stakeholders, and the project proponent will have to be accountable to the stakeholders for whatever decisions and actions. He is also legally responsible for regulatory compliance of his project at all times. Next is the quality conscious. We are talking about providing prominent information to the authorities for making decisions on the development project. The report produced have to be of quality. This will lead to quality decisions. Good quality control should be applied at every stage of EIA study for the benefit of the society and stakeholders. Next is the self-regulatory. This will require the commitments by the project proponent in terms of the compliance to the regulations on a sustained basis. And then is the ethical. All personnel involved in the EIA study shall uphold their professional ethics to fulfill their professional obligations, especially in the effort to preserve the environment from the negative impacts by the development project. Next, participative. Nowadays, EIA scope is very broad. It involves a multidisciplinary studies on the environmental component. This includes the water quality, air quality, waste management, environmental sensitive areas, and natural resources. It involves the participations of many parties, including the government agency, non-government organizations, academicians, experts, and environmental practitioners. Therefore, EIA process should provide adequate opportunity to all the stakeholders, including the affected public, to express their concern and provide inputs for the decision-making process. Lastly is the sustainability. The project should be thoroughly studied in order to ensure it is environmentally sound, sustainable, and beneficial to the society. We do not like the development to severely affect the environment, as this will affect the sustainability in terms of the development. You know that environmental impact assessment is done at the planning stage of the project. It covers two main parts: investigating the potential impacts to the environment, and then proposing the measures to mitigate the impacts. There will be decision making. You can consider EIA as a project planning and decision making tools that provide the project proponent with appropriate information to ensure the project design and operations meet the environmental sustainable objectives. Second is to provide relevant providing authorities with appropriate information and assurance for it to make the decisions whether or not to approve the project. Third is to provide the public and other stakeholders the assurance of the benefits to the society from the project are greater than the environmental cost to the society. EIA is produced by the qualified person, and this qualified person is a professional. There are professional ethics governing it. Of course, from the perspective of the project proponent, the major interest is to get a green light from the authorities, getting approval so that the project can be executed. There are commercial considerations and interests behind it. However, this qualified person needs to be neutral and professional. That's why there is a need for the transparency and credibility. No information should be hid from the authorities or the public just to make the EIA reports to look good. The greatest motivations of the development project shouldn't be just getting the project approved without considering the environmental costs. From the point of view of engineering, there are always solutions. Now it is whether the solutions is economical, practical, or viable. This again comes back to the commercial interests of the project proponent, whether the project proponents willing to pay the price for the benefit of the environment and general public. Now the qualified persons should come up with cost-effective solutions, and they should be practical, at the same time accountable to the society, in order at the same time to protect the interests of the project proponent as well as the interests of the stakeholders. This is a part of the professional ethics. The ultimate goal here is to ensure the sustainability of the development. Therefore, EIA serves as the tools to provide appropriate information for practical design, for the authorities to decide whether to approve or not to approve, and also for the public and stakeholders to evaluate the benefits of that particular project with respect to the environmental costs to the society.